Recently reading through Reddit, I noticed a post where someone was asking, hey, I need help. How do I deal with poor leadership? And I said, this is a great thing to comment on because part of our mission here is to eradicate poor leadership. And what made me even more want to create this video is that post was actually recently deleted. First of all, when we talk about poor leadership, I want us to kind of like just have it in mind and understand that poor leadership is a behavior, not a person. We tend to, when we're talking about poor leadership, we tend to be doing it in a way that is attacking a person. Poor leadership is not a person. Poor leadership is a behavior. Most times, I've had years and years of dealing with lots of leaders, and unfortunately, a high percentage of them have been poor leaders. However, they have been great people, great missions, great abilities. However, they have displayed poor leadership. Where does poor leadership usually come from? Well, what I actually find where poor leadership normally comes from is an insecurity. Why? You say, hang on, no, all these people, these leaders, they have heaps of confidence and they're overconfident, and usually that's what's kind of leading to the poor leadership because of their ego or their whatever it might be. But they are insecure. Why? Because every single time I've seen someone executing poor leadership or displaying poor leadership, it's because that person was operating outside of their purpose. Every time. And so they were insecure and using poor leadership to overshadow, and to hide that they are not where they are meant to be. And so the first thing in dealing with poor leadership is, please make sure it's not about the person. It's the behavior. What can we do about poor leadership? The only thing you can do about poor leadership is you can deal with yourself, because we can't change anyone else. Trust me. I'm a coach, I'm a consultant. People pay me lots of money to come in and help them improve their businesses and improve their leadership. And many times, that person won't even change because I'm trying to change them. But at the end of the day, the only person we can change is ourselves. Stop trying to figure out how you can change that person. You won't be able to, but you can change yourself. And there's a few little things you can look at to be able to make your position better. And I took some notes from some of these comments. I think one of the things of dealing with poor leadership is we tend to take a position of, well, how did they get that position? Why are they doing that job? Why them and not me? And there's this kind of like envy, jealous, like there's this negative thoughts that creep in. And as soon as you have those thoughts of why them and not me, you're focusing on the wrong thing. Because to be honest, if they don't have the skill for it, it doesn't mean they're wrong for the position. Because one of the key factors in trying to recruit the right people for your team is culture. And we talk about nepotism and oh, they just got that job because they knew the boss or they knew someone. Well, trust is really important when you put someone in a leadership position. And so when that person employed them, they trusted them, or they trusted that person who referred them or whatever, and they felt like that was more important than getting someone that was highly skilled. Also, I mentioned culture. Culture fit is so right. Maybe they employed that person because they liked them, because they had a similar culture, they had similar values, and they figured that this person has the right values. I'd prefer to have someone that has the right culture, that doesn't quite have the right skills, that could learn and adapt to the position, but they've got the right culture, rather than hiring someone that is perfect for the role, but terrible for the culture. Because trust me, if you hire someone for the skill that doesn't have the right culture, that wrong culture will be like a cancer in your organization in the long run and probably end up worse. Now, I know this doesn't cover every base and doesn't cover every situation. I'm just talking generally of the things that I've come across. I'm not denying that there are just some people that are just wrong for the role. I agree, and we could just leave those aside. But if we have a little bit of empathy and a little bit of understanding of maybe why that person was put in there, maybe they were right culture fit, maybe it was because they trusted them, maybe there was a reason why that person was put in, maybe it was just literally the boss was desperate at the time and they just put whoever was available at that time, and they just put the next person who turns up, they're going to be the leader because that's what they needed at that time. Now, it doesn't make it the right decision, but they should have given them the skills, given them the training, given them the ability to grow in that role rather than just rest and usually they try to just cover up. Usually poor leaders, one of the biggest complaints I get from teams, they're like, oh, but I'm doing all of my boss's work. Or I'm doing all of my leaders' work and I have to do everything for them. They're always coming, I should have that position because I'm doing everything that they can do anyway. Well, let me give you some perspective on that. First of all, just as a bit of a side note, just because you can do all the practical things doesn't make you a leader. There's so much more to leadership, and if a leader has no idea of what's going on in the role but gets everything done, they're good at being able to rally the troops or organize and meet deadlines and structure and plan and everything like that. That's probably more important than them actually doing the job. Leaders are there to lead and the team are there to execute, right? However, if you're in a position where you're practically doing the leader's job, a lot of people will say, hey, maybe I should just not do it and make the leader look bad or everything like that. No, because that'll make you look bad. You're a team player. If you feel like you should be a leader and you should be stepping up in that role, leaders cover the mistakes of other people. Leaders protect their team. And part of your team is the person that's leading you right now. And that's what real leadership is. It's not about the title that you have or the pay rise you have. But at the end of the day, leadership is a behavior. And you might be acting like more of a leader than your leader by covering their mistakes. Because that's what leaders do. That's credits going into your bank account for future promotions, for future opportunities, because I know I can trust you and you're not just going to try to stab me in the back first opportunity you get for a promotion or try to trample me down. But getting back to the practical thing, if you are under a leader and you're doing all of the leadership person's stuff, it's when it's time to have a clear conversation about what are our roles and responsibilities. You will not believe it's such a simple task, but how many organizations I go into and they don't have clearly defined roles. It's a simple task, but you don't understand the impact it has to an organization when I sit down and actually help them clearly define, create roles and responsibilities for every position in the organization. And the results we get from that is people being more productive, people knowing their lane to stay in, people actually enjoying their job and not feeling the extra pressure because they don't know where the goalposts are and they don't know what I'm meant to be doing today. The organization just becomes so much more efficient and everyone feels so much more fulfilled in their jobs when they actually know what their role is. And so if you are doing all of your boss's things, my question to you is, do you have clearly defined roles? And if you don't, you should ask. Just go, hey, boss, I'm having this challenge right now. I'm kind of feeling like I'm jumping from here to there. I want to know what my exact role is. What are my clear defined tasks? Now, does that mean once you get that role description, you only do that job? No, because being a good team player is this is my responsibility. This is what I focus on. But if another team member needs help with that, once I have taken care of my responsibilities, I can help with theirs. And the last thing that this person actually commented on in this post was, do I confront them? Well, yes and no. Yes and no. You shouldn't stay silent, but you also shouldn't go on attack, right? Like Simon Sinek's book, The Infinite Game. That's an incredible leadership book. If you haven't read it, you should read it. And it tells us about everyone's trying to win like this short game, but life is an infinite game. If you're playing an infinite game of like, okay, so if I challenge him now, maybe that might give me a better position. Maybe I might knock him off his pedestal or whatever. That might get you into that position. But no other opportunity will come up in the organization because everyone's going to be afraid that you're going to try to knock them off. Or you move to another organization and this rumor travels around and follows you that you're the person that tries to knock people off their pedestal, right? So think about the infinite game. Think about the long term of your entire career. I know it might be difficult right now working under a poor leader. But if you can perform the best you can, support them, have empathy for them, have your clearly defined roles, and have good serious conversations without confronting, then you'll build a reputation for being a great team player, an incredible leader. And trust me, maybe it might not happen this year, next year, or 5 years. But I guarantee that you will build a reputation that long term will poise you as a great leader and you'll have incredible opportunities come up. Look, I've had leadership breakdowns before. I've had business partnerships fall apart with incredible people. These people have been incredible, displaying poor leadership, but they have been incredible people with incredible missions. And I exited quietly. I could have made a kerfuffle. I even had other people, trying to run me out of town and share all negative things about me and try to create bad rumors about me and try to, muddy my name in the industry. But I kept my mouth shut. And what I found is maybe, over the next 6 to 12 months, even later, I was having people come to me going, hey, Craig, I saw what he did to you and I saw what he was saying about you. And you never once said anything bad about him. But we saw on the inside, or we heard these stories and we kind of know that you were in the right and he was in the wrong and blah, blah, blah. You have so much integrity, we want to work with you. And so it didn't come in the moment, it hurt in the moment. But because I kept my integrity, my brand of integrity was kept throughout. And so there's nothing you can actually say. Now, I've made mistakes. Yes, I've made mistakes. But the one thing I can say, that my brand is integrity. That has actually led me to success later on because I wasn't trying to win the short-term game. I was playing the infinite game. And so I hope that helps you dealing with poor leadership. Just remember, poor leadership is not a person. It's not a person, it's a behavior. And if you feel like that's a worthwhile mission of like, yes, let's eradicate poor leadership, not eradicate poor leaders, let's eradicate poor leadership from this planet, then I encourage you, join our mission. Learn more about leadership, become a better leader yourself, subscribe to our stuff, download our stuff, whatever, like check it out. Join our mission, even just you personally, of just becoming the best possible leader you can. So we can eradicate poor leadership, one behavior at a time.